Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to XDefiant. Do you guys remember after years of radio silence, Activision finally came out and addressed skill-based matchmaking? They gave us a couple of blog posts. They said that skill-based matchmaking is indeed in the game. It's there to protect bad players because bad players who are having a bad time tend to quit the game and not ever come back, despite the fact that good players are quitting the game in droves and not coming back. It's like you're picking the new fans over the people that have been around and supporting you for years and years. It never really made a whole lot of sense, but they came out and spoke about it. Well, today, the XDefiant team came out with their own matchmaking blog post, which is hilarious when you read it in comparison to how Activision's trying to defend skill-based matchmaking and how much they love it, and how they think it's good for the game, and how they run their tests and this, that, and the other. The XDefiant blog post is virtually the complete opposite of what Activision says, which is so fantastic. So I'll put a link to it down there in the description if you guys want to check it out. But we're going to take a peek at it here in this video today. So this was just posted, and it says, as we get closer to our long-awaited launch, we wanted to take some time to outline matchmaking systems in XDefiant. We know this is a hot topic in the FPS space, and in keeping with our commitment to transparency, we have put together some details for you. The most important thing to know is there is no skill-based matchmaking in our casual playlist. We believe that no skill-based matchmaking is paramount to a fun and varied game experience in the long term. Frankly, skill-based matchmaking means every casual game is repetitive, constantly repeating matches that are just as stressful and matched as ranked. We believe casual playlists should be fun, and no skill-based matchmaking is the way to do that. If you want that competitive, every second counts, go all-out playstyle, you'll find our ranked mode to your liking. Now, similar to how Activision posted their priority lists when it comes to how they matchmake, XDefiant and the team over at Ubisoft decided to do the exact same thing. And again, it's pretty freaking funny when you compare how Activision does things compared to how XDefiant does things. So for casual play, in a list in descending order of priority, the matchmaking parameters are as follows. Number one is latency. They prefer similar pings across everybody in the lobby. And then on top of that, you have your avoided players. They're going to try to restrict matchmaking between any players currently avoiding one another through muting. Then, of course, it's going to take your party size into consideration, which I think is something that most games do nowadays. If you're a full stack of 6, you can probably expect to face other parties as compared to facing 6 completely random people. That's just fair in my opinion. It has nothing to do with skill-based matchmaking. That's just good game design. Then on top of that, you have region, you have your input device, and then you have your platform. When it comes to ranked play, you have your ranked points, you have your latency, your party size, region, input device, and platform. So basically everything here is just about getting you into the game and having it be about your connection as compared to some matchmaking algorithm that makes you want to tear your hair out. They continued on down here with additional info. It's not a very big blog post by any stretch of the imagination, but we have things like team balancing, input device lock, as well as lobby persistence. We're going to read this one first. In casual playlists, the default behavior of lobbies is to persist between matches. This means subsequent games will often include the same players from the previous match. Teams, however, are going to be shuffled, and we're going to be talking about that here with team balancing. So basically, no disbanding lobbies, no skill-based matchmaking, no disbanding lobbies in XDefiant. Two amazing features right there, who would have thought? And then team balancing. Once a lobby is populated, teams are balanced based on players' skill rating. Oh no, skill rating! The casual lobby does not use skill to determine who gets into a game, but once everyone shows up, it balances the teams for a fun match. Then input lock device here. So basically, if you search for a game and you already have your controller plugged in, you're going to be locked into your controller. If you go in with keyboard mouse, you're locked in the keyboard mouse. That's whatever. When it comes to team balancing here, that is something that has been in virtually every shooter game I think I've ever played. It's one of those things where without skill-based matchmaking, you're going to notice that there's going to be some people on your team that really suck. And you know what? That is okay in my opinion. I am perfectly fine with that because I've always thought that was how they did things anyway, but Call of Duty is a bit different. In COD, they get you into the lobby based on skill, and then they take those people that are all very close in terms of skill and try to balance out the teams to make it as sweaty as humanly possible. In a game without skill-based matchmaking, in a game like XDefiant, you're going to get into your lobby based on your connection, and if you're a good player, you can expect to kind of have some bad teammates on your team every now and then. And if you're an average player, you're going to have mostly average people on your team. It's just going to basically balance everything out. If you just picture it this way, every person that plays XDefiant is going to have a skill rating of, say, 1 to 10. You know, 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing. And let's say if you're a 9 on the old skill rating and you get into a match, well then if there's people that are 2s and 3s in that lobby, they're probably going to be on your team. They're going to basically just take everybody's collective skill rating and try to make it so both teams are as relatively balanced as possible. But of course, that doesn't always translate well in actual practice when you're talking about people. You know, somebody may be an amazing player, but maybe they're leveling up their pistol that game. Then the matchmaking gets really skewed because the game thinks that you're going to carry your team, but you're using a pistol. That can be frustrating. COD has that as well. And if you're somebody like me that likes to grind camos, going for interstellar camo and all that, you know, it's so frustrating. But I'm trying to get double kills with the RGL. Meanwhile, the matchmaking parameters are expecting me to carry that match. It can be very frustrating. So I can see both sides of the argument when it comes to the balancing of matches. Honestly, I'm not sure what else they could possibly do to make that a little bit better. Perhaps they could take into consideration the weapons that you've been using recently, like over the course of your past 10 games, if you've mostly been using pistols and shotguns and things like that, then perhaps maybe they should artificially lower your skill rating as a parameter for this. But then again, when it comes to gaming in 2024, as soon as people realize, hey, if I run around with a pistol a bunch, the game thinks I'm terrible, and then I'll pull out an assault rifle for the next game and just tear things up, like, people will always try to find ways to just skew the matchmaking and bend things towards their favor. So I don't really think there's much more they can do about team balancing. I'm personally okay with it. I feel like most games have team balancing of some sort, but the big thing is no skill-based matchmaking in XDefiant. Of course, we've known that for a very long time, but the fact that they just came out, they reiterated it, they basically called out games like Call of Duty and companies like Activision and Microsoft by just straight up saying, you know what, skill-based matchmaking means every casual game is repetitive. Constantly repeating matches are just as stressful and matched as ranked. We believe casual playlists should be fun, and no skill-based matchmaking is the way to do that. And then, of course, showing what they say are going to be their priority list for matchmaking, with number 1 being latency and avoided players. That's pretty huge, taking party size into consideration and things like that. I'm personally a huge fan. This is definitely some great news. It's nothing really new or earth-shattering. They've kind of been banging that no skill-based matchmaking drum since the inception of XDefiant, but still, them coming out and doubling down on that and reiterating that for the entire community while also posting a blog post for everybody to read as they get ready for the full launch of the game, I think that was a pretty good move. And I want to make that video here today just covering that and letting you guys know how they're going to be handling skill-based matchmaking and the parameters that they have for matchmaking within XDefiant. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for this video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.